Date of birth?
Friday, 31st of December, 1937.
You're living with your daughter at the moment, is that right?
Yes, in my flat. You see, the situation is very simple. I've lived in this flat for 30 years now.
It's me!
And my daughter is very interested in it.
No, Dad, what are you talking about?
So she's moved in with this man she met.
I'm here to help you.
Tell me, do what? Everything is fine, Anne. I don't know what she's cooking up against me, but she's cooking something up, that I do know. There's something funny going on. Where's the painting?
What painting?
Believe me, there's something funny going on. Has anyone seen my watch? It's been stolen.
No, it hasn't.
What do you mean, no, it hasn't? You know, it's been going on for some time.
It's me!
Anne! Strange things going on around us. What is this nonsense? Where's Anne?
What are you talking about?
Where is she?
I'm here.
I don't need any help.
We have to come up with a different arrangement.
Stop talking like that.
And I'm not leaving my flat! I am not leaving my flat!
Dad?
Have you had your pills?
Can I ask you a question? How much longer do you intend to hang around here, ruining your daughter's life?
Who are you, exactly? What about me?
Dad?
Who exactly am I?
Thank you for joining us today at the Virtual Village Hall, Florian. It's great to see you. Royal Voluntary Service supports many families living with dementia, and it's a real privilege to be joined with you today, the writer and director of the film The Father, critically acclaimed film about the relationship between an elderly man living with dementia, played by Sir Anthony Hopkins, and his daughter, played by Olivia Colman. So thank you so much. And joining us as well is Regan Hurst, who's a Royal Voluntary Service volunteer who works at our Doncaster Dementia Service. Regan supports families living with dementia. So thank you very much, Regan, for joining us today. It's wonderful to have you with us. So Regan, I know that you've got some questions for Florian, so I'll hand over to you.
So The Father explores dementia and its impacts on families. What made you want to tell this story?
At first, I think that when I started writing that play, because before being a film, The Father was a play. When I wrote the play, I think I was trying to go through my personal experience, meaning that I have been raised by my grandmother. She was like my mother, and she was someone very dear to me. And she started to suffer from dementia when I was 15. So I knew a bit what it was to go through this painful process and to find yourself in a position where you are powerless in a way, impotent. You can love someone and you understand that love is not enough. But it was not about trying to tell my own story. It was about sharing emotions, but because I also knew that unfortunately I'm not the only one, meaning that everyone has a grandmother, everyone has a father, everyone has or will have to deal with this kind of dilemma, which is, what do you do with the people you love when they are starting to lose their bearings? So it was about sharing emotions, but I wanted to do it in a slightly special way, because there are many films about dementia. Some of them are very moving, but it's always a bit the same. It's always told from the outside, and you know where you are and where you are going. And what I want to try to do is to tell that story from the inside, and as if the audience was in a unique position, as if the audience was going through a labyrinth, as if the audience was in the main character's head. So it was a way to experience something, meaning that I didn't want the father to be just a story. I wanted the father to be an experience, and the experience of what it could mean to lose everything, including your own bearings as a viewer.
I think you achieved that anyway. My next question is, do you think the film will help people to better understand how dementia affects those living with it?
I think the beauty of cinema is always to experience something that is not you, and in a way it gives more understanding of the world, you know, and this is what we need: more empathy and more understanding. And to go through this experience, to go through this labyrinth, for me was not just a mind game. It was a way to create empathy and to understand, for example, how some people could have cruelty moments, impatience, paranoia, aggressivity, anxiety, because in that film we are going through this process, and sometimes we feel the danger, we feel the anxiety, and so it's a way to, yes, to make this process more understandable. But it's not only the story of this man losing his bearings, it's also the story of his daughter, his loving daughter, trying to make good decisions. And I think that it must be so difficult, you know, when you are in that position, when in a way you are becoming the parent of your own parent, because there is no right answer. And what I love about this character and about the way Olivia Colman does it's that you can feel that this is a loving daughter. And in a way, this is the limit of love. It's that she wants the best for her father, but she doesn't know exactly what is the best. You know, is it time to put him in an institution or to keep him at home? And at the same time, she wants to live her own life. So it's not about saying she should do this or she should have done that, because to me, at least, cinema, it's not a place for answers. It's a place for questions. And then everyone with his own personal life, sensibility, personality would turn this into an answer, personal answer. But it's not about, you know, delivering a message. It's about sharing those common difficulties, those common questions. And I think there is a consolation, and a real one, and a beautiful one, just to remember that, in a way, we are not just individuals like that, but we are part of something bigger than ourselves. We all have the same fears, the same questionings, and, you know, in a way we are in the same boat, you know, which is humanity, even though it's a painful humanity.
Thank you. What do you hope that people will take away from the film?
It's about love, you know, between a father and a daughter, and what means to be loved and loved when you are going through this process, you know, when the father doesn't recognize anymore his own daughter, when love is so tested, you know, by disease and by reality. So I think it's about, you know, how it matters to be connected, to be alive, and the beauty of being connected and to be loved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Florian. Those are great. I saw the film yesterday. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, I have to say. Really, really moving, and extremely brilliant acting from both Olivia Colman and Sir Anthony Hopkins. Some great casting. We've had some questions from some of our viewers of the Virtual Village Hall in advance. So Kath has asked, what was it like working with Sir Anthony Hopkins? I understand actually that you had him in mind for the role right from the start. Is that true?
Yes, it is true. Actually, I'm French, as you can hear.
Yes.
And the reason why I made the decision to make that film in English is to be able to do it with him, actually. So it was really a profound desire to make that film with him. And the reason why is that I think he's the greatest living actor. This is very subjective, but this is really what I believe. And also, we know an actor through all his parts. And Anthony, to me, is this man very intelligent, always in control of the situation. And I thought that it would be disturbing and emotionally powerful to see that man precisely losing the control of the situations. So I think that it was because of what we know. And in a way, you know, I started by saying that I thought of my grandmother writing the text, and my grandmother was a very strong personality, and the challenge of letting it go, was even more painful for her, because she was this kind of person wanting to control everything. And this is something that I could feel through Anthony as well. He's a figure of authority, and this process is even more painful, to accept not to be in control of the situation anymore.
I think that comes through really well, actually. Yes, absolutely. And you showed the audience some of the confusion, didn't you, by putting them into his perspective? Was that actually difficult to achieve from a director's point of view?
No, it was the most exciting part of the process, to play with that feeling of disorientation of the audience. And I thought that the cinema, thanks to its language, could turn this experience into an even more immersive experience, and even more disturbing and powerful. And it was a way to play with the set, to play with the frames, to play with the combination, so that you are constantly doubting about everything. At the same time, you know where you are, because you recognize the space and the way to travel into that space. But on the other hand, at the same time, you're never quite sure of where you are, because there are many metamorphoses on set. Everything has been shot in the same space, but the space is constantly changing, so that you are in this unique position. You know where you are, and at the same time, you do not know. So it was a way for me to play with the set as if it was like a labyrinth, but it was also, as I said, a way for me to ask the audience to experience this feeling of disorientation, and also to put the audience in an active position, to try to ask them to deal with all the contradictions in the narrative, to trying to find their own path through the meaning, and to fight for the meaning in a way.
Absolutely, I think that's extremely successful, and at the end there, that really comes to a good conclusion, an interesting conclusion, I think. So, did you shoot the film during COVID-19 conditions, and where did you film it?
No, we shot the film in London, West Studio London, but it was 2 years ago in 2019, so it was just before the pandemic. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible to do it, because Anthony lives in LA. So fortunately, it was just before. But in a way, we experienced quarantine before it happened to all of us, because when you think of adapting a play into a film, the first idea is always to write new scenes outdoors to make it feel more cinematic. But here, I made the decision to stay in this apartment throughout the film, to stay in this space, so that space could become like a mental space, and to use it in a cinematic way. So we shot the whole film in a small studio, and as if we were, in lockdown. And it's, in a way, there are some echoes, but it was not done on purpose, between the film and what we have experienced last year, about the feeling of being alone, apart from the rest of the world, and to navigate in an intern world.
Thank you, Florian. That's brilliant. I think we've come towards the end of our time. So thank you both. And
thank you so much.
I recommend the film wholeheartedly. It opens, I believe, in UK cinemas on the 11th of June. Very recommended.